The Critic's Dilemma. Or the Shill's Dilemma, equally so, in this particular case I do suppose, as the fallout after Supergirl has, if anything honestly, been a hell of a lot more interesting than the movie itself, with a lot of people having placed a great deal of social capital in the assumption that this wouldn't be hot garbage. Very unfortunate bet to make, really. With a lot of people now wondering how exactly they're gonna go about critiquing an obviously poor movie without losing too much in the way of political capital. Like this one. I deleted my Supergirl review because the loudest people trashing it were misogynist chuds. And good on all of you, misogynist chuds, incidentally. But now that more people have seen it, I stand by what I said. The movie was ass. Great cast, god-awful script, cinematography, color grading, villain, and soundtrack. We shouldn't defend mediocrity just because the wrong people also hate it. Which is an interesting point of view, one shared, incidentally, by Angry Joe. Now, you know what? Okay, a lot of people have been pissing all over Angry Joe recently, I amongst them, admittedly, but you gotta admit, at least he does have a degree of integrity, as he himself also gave it a 4 out of 10 rating, which is kind of hilarious. Supergirl is being reviewed bombed and dogpiled, says the man who gave it a 4 out of 10. And even that, mind you, is probably a rather optimistic verdict, frankly, considering the sheer quantity of plot holes, and as we will see a little bit later on this video, the very fact that the people making it didn't actually know what they were making. Apparently, the people writing the script had lost track of the script at some point in the filming process, but at least Joe gave it a relatively honest, if slightly optimistic review, right? 4 out of 10. Whereas other people are simply claiming that, oh, it failed because people hate women. Christ. People have really hated women for the last, 10, 15 years now? Jesus. At some point, you've got to wonder why they keep challenging the apparent sacred assumption that every man out there just despises females. You'd think that the market would adapt or something, but no, it just keeps trundling on. But hey, why would you even bother, as the market and the audience are just evil? Pay no mind to the fragile incel dude bro YouTubers. Miley Alcock was fantastic. She was an excellent choice. She was not, nor was the movie solid, incidentally. See, Miley Alcock's performance, you know, if this was any other character, if this was supposed to be an utterly flat character, basically if they were trying to recast the Star Wars movies, the Disney ones, but trying to make it a parody by making the acting worse, she would be the ideal choice. But for a character that is actually supposed to give off some sort of emotion every now and then, not quite so much, as she remains utterly deadpan throughout the entire film, which is a bit of an achievement in and of itself. Or continuing on, enjoying the Supergirl movie despite what the incels say. And it's not just the incels either, because we've now leveled up. It isn't merely that the audience hates women or are incels, no. They're pedophile pro-sex traffickers now. Remember a while ago when I said that they would start using Epstein adjacent as a type of slur? Well, they'll try to, because for years now, the right has looked to the left and go like, what's the map movement? Are you serious now? And the left took that, of course, seriously, because it did describe them awfully accurately, and are now adopting the chuds verbiage. As always. Generally speaking, the left wing is always about 1 or 2 years behind simply just taking on the verbiage of the right. A Supergirl movie is always going to be about a young woman finding and tapping into her power. Now this too is a different form of critique. So we've seen previously the people who was like, oh god, I bet a lot on this movie being good, my social and online reputation, and it turned out to be shit. But I still have some principles, over to the, no, I have no principles, I'm just gonna attack everybody who doesn't like it because I am in the culture war mode, to this group of people who I've got to assume didn't even actually watch the damn thing and are now simply making things up. And that's exactly what the chuds hate. They don't like stories about powerful women, makes them feel self-conscious, so their opinions are not important here. Problem is, the movie is not at all about Supergirl finding or tapping into her powers at any point. She is fully aware of the powers she has. In fact, she is deliberately attempting to get away from them to drink herself to death, basically, and self-isolate. Whenever she's in trouble, she simply flees back to her powers. This is not about her discovering what she can do. In fact, she sets about chasing down the evil space pirate with absolutely zero concern for her own being whatsoever. Well-being. None. At no point, even when she is dying from the color green in the sky, does she ever seem to think that, oh boy, maybe I fucked up. Not at any point. She seems utterly, well, deadpan throughout the entire damn thing. And this continues on. There's no identity politics or propaganda, moron. It's just the two girls seeking revenge for the villain who hurt her dog and killed her family. Yes, it's two girls seeking revenge on the all-male, all-white space pirates that killed their multicultural fantasy family, whilst Kara also is ambushed by other space pirates, who are all female, whom she doesn't do diddly dick to, other than tear apart their spaceship and then place them down on a planet nearby, supposedly. No, there's absolutely a plentiful identity politics in the show as well. It's just that compared to the all just raw dog shit of it, frankly, the politics doesn't even rank at that point. Oh, it's another strong female character, another girl boss, the same as every other girl boss character written in the last 10 years. Whoop-de-doo. At this point, we're just pretty much used to it, and again, with all of the other garbage, it hardly even registers, like a turd already dipping along in the Ganges River. Or, do not listen to those critics, it's a really good movie, fun and surprisingly more comic accurate than I was expecting. Comic accurate. Go see it. Right, so we've now moved on to I made shit up to I made shit up with sprinkles on top, attempting, I presume, to appeal to the people who like comics, which it's a bit late for that, but hey, details. That it's very comic book accurate. All right then, maybe we can find something else around that. The Supergirl script is actually very strong, despite what some are saying. If you're curious, check out our interview with writer Anna Nogueira, where she explains her process adopting the comic. Well, there's one very important part of this. I've read the comic so many times, I would dog-ear different pages, circle pieces of dialogue, and sometimes take panels that I thought were particularly beautiful or important to the story, says the writer. Okay, now, first and foremost, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, is a crap comic. It is an absolute shit comic, and I said that the moment they announced it. It is awful, and has virtually nothing to do with Supergirl or even Interstellar Adventure. It is just actual hot garbage, but details. So, obviously, the writer loves this comic and has read it so many times she's literally left indentations on the pages. Well, the final battle sees an emotional breakthrough for Kara and Rutia, but also a very final moment for Krem. Those leads us to what we're going to see for Supergirl, Mr. Jones, Superman, and Man of Tomorrow. How did you go about crafting the ending? The ending between Kara and Krem was always in it from the pitch, truly from the very beginning, because the comic ends with Ruthie killing Krem. Except, no, she didn't. Oh, fuck. Why do they choose to lie? Like, listen, nobody believes you when you're saying, like, oh, I'm such a huge comic book fan. Nobody believes you. We all know you're a fake fan. We make that assumption the moment we see you. Hell, if we all hate women, just assume that we think that you're a fake fan because of your femininity. I don't even care anymore. But none of us ever believed that you ever so much as looked at the fucking comic book cover, other than to pick it up for an interview, I do suppose, as he doesn't die. He keeps moving on the picture. They make it rather explicit that he's supposed to be redeemed in the comic, as Kara sends him into the Phantom Zone for 100 years, and he freaks out, he starts bettering himself, and he eventually pledges to become a better man. When he re-emerges from the Phantom Zone, he's like, I'll do better, I'm so sorry, and she gives him a whack with her stick, just to shut him up, in essence, and it's a final little piece of vengeance. That's it. He lives, and yet now we have this whole spiel that, I read the comic so many times, and that's why I had to kill him. See, on top of everything else that was wrong with the movie, I barely even commented on the fact that Supergirl just chooses to fucking schwack the guy at the end, beyond the idiocy of her telling the young girl to be like, no, you can't kill him, that's for me to do. But if you actually put this into the context of the character, which didn't even occur to me because this is simply not Supergirl in the slightest, then that's fucking absurd. Do you remember the meal they made out of Superman killing General Zod in The Man of Steel? How massive of a controversy that spawned. Or the fact that they then launched into David Cornsweat's Superman with the explicit intent, to make him a good guy Superman. And here we have Kara decapitating space pirates after slaughtering dozens of them, mind you, having become a killer because of a fucking inability to read a panel. Holy shit. She saw another person give Krem a whack, after which he keeps moving, and the comic makes it explicitly clear he's not dead, and thought, well, he's a goner. There's blood. Look, there's little out of his skull. Obviously, he's gone. So even that was literally just a mistake. Nobody mentioned this. Nobody else, not the author, not the other writers, not the actors. Nobody raised their hands up and went, oh, I'm sorry, Miss Writer. I don't think you wrote this. I don't think I read this more correctly. Because you don't kill him. Oh, God. And of course, it's brilliant, it's empowering, shocking, and cathartic moment that stays with you. And Onogura is a talented writer and knows that adaptation should bring something different to the source material. This is the definition of a shill right here. The person who glazes the person for making a mistake. A mistake that the writer then admits to. Holy heck. But on the bright side, we do now have the highest grossing Supergirl movie of all time. Wow, well, that's an achievement. The highest grossing Supergirl movie of all time. Oh, hold on. Have there even been any other Supergirl movies? So this one is now looking at 38 million gross domestic, which is, well, initially they were assuming this thing would launch at 60 million. I even saw some people suggesting that it might outgrow Spider-Man, which is hilarious, to put it mildly, and it's had an incredibly weak international showing as well, scoring well underneath the domestic for an incredibly disappointing 68 million total. But okay, 38 million domestic. Well, there was another Supergirl movie back in 1984, a domestic release only, very much so B-movie-esque level Supergirl movie. And it came in at $14.2 million. Again, domestic only. Right. $14 million in 1984. If we take a quick adjustment for inflation, we end up with $44.5 million. In other words, right now, and that will probably change, although maybe not as much as is necessary, the Supergirl movie is actually outgrossed by the B movie from 1984. Wow. I guess people were just a lot less misogynistic back then, one must assume, as this is the final part of it too. The whole why aren't people going to watch the movie? Why are they taking their opinions from the internet? Well, it's very simple. It's because most people don't actually want to watch 2-3 hours of their lives watching garbage, sitting there for an hour, 40 minutes, driving to and from the cinema, etc., not to mention the cost of the tickets and snacks and so on. And so they go online to see if any of the people they like have watched the movie and suffered so they do not have to, and then they take their opinions on board. It is, in essence, simply a review in a different and far more optimistic and honest form. But then, okay, who makes the rules here, right? Also, that's also important to bring up here. Who is it that makes a movie succeed? Who is it that affects this? Is it Variety? No. Is it The Hollywood Reporter? No. It's none of the mainstream outlets, not even DC itself. The kingmakers on this level here now are, well, the Nerdrotics of the world. It is the YouTubers, for better or worse. They are the ones who set the taste, they are the ones who set the trends, and they are the ones who make sure a movie succeeds or fails. And I maintain, by the way, even as, okay, I rewatched the last year's Superman movie the other day, and oh boy, it was a lot more boring than I remember. Yeah, that did not age better on the rewatching. In fact, it aged like goddamn milk. But I maintain that if DC had marketed that as an actually optimistic take on Superman and kept James Gunn locked away in a basement, I think it would have done a lot better. Again, purely due to positive word of mouth, as there were a lot of the YouTubers back then who were genuinely interested and optimistic in the Boy Scout Superman, who were then slapped down repeatedly by James Gunn's antics. Oh boy. And at the end of the day, this just doesn't fucking work. Truth, justice, whatever. You start the series with an optimistic classic Superman. You then choose to follow it up with whatever. It makes no logical sense other than that James Gunn is actually trying to destroy DC, especially as, okay, I want to rebuild the trust of the audience, which I think DC has lost over the years. You're 2 fucking movies in now, into your DC reboot, and we're still on about rebuilding the trust of the audience. But you're not doing that. This is the Peter Molyneux approach to marketing, where you go, yeah, no, we messed up a lot about that, I was awful, sure, definitely, that sucked ass, but we're trying to rebuild the trust here. Listen. If you come over and piss in my cornflakes, not once, but twice, you pull down your pants and urinate directly into my food, without so much as a hint of regret, when you then come around a 3rd time and go, listen, that's on me, I did piss in your food twice, and I get that we're gonna have to rebuild some trust, you and I, before you allow me around your breakfast cereal without my pants on again, but we're gonna get to that. Fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, and we're far past twice now. I mean, this isn't even exclusively a DC problem by any stretch of the imagination either. We're on a few dozen now. Even if you'd put out a good fucking movie, you still wouldn't be guaranteed success here. Your only option, genuinely, is to take this to heart, and the next time you do another Superman, a reboot, guaranteeably within the next 4 or 5 years, what you need to do is literally email every fucking YouTuber you can come up with and make them the production team and marketing organ for your goddamn movie, and give them literally anything they want. That is the only way you can hope to succeed in the short term. Otherwise, the reigning notion around any of your movies, the reception is going to be one of negativity first and foremost, or at the very best case scenario, guarded yet extreme skepticism. So, No, the time to rebuilding trust has long come and gone. We are now in the actively fuck you timeline, and we're probably gonna stay there for a while. Especially as the cries from the cheap seats grow ever more strident and or desperate. The critic's dilemma indeed. To be honest with oneself and one's audience, or simply just try to blame the audience yet again. Until next time, I've been Arch. Thank you all very much for watching, and I do hope to see you all again soon. Till then, have a good day.